Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing well. My, what a day we had yesterday. So, I'm going to make a video about, yesterday, kind of recapping the trades we took and why we had such an amazing rally. But I will quickly try to cover, what we saw. We had, the whole market this week been stuck in a range and waiting for FOMC on Wednesday, CPI on Thursday. FOMC was very mute. We just stayed in a wedge the whole day. So we're waiting for CPI. We get a little push up to the top of this range. CPI comes out. Inflation numbers went up, but they only went up very slightly, a little bit past estimation, not anything crazy. Yes, we get our reaction that sent us down near 3,500. And I talked about in prep yesterday. If we hold 3,500, we need to start to play long for a cover pop up to the first target, 3,541. Then the next target, 3,571. Those would be the two spots that if we were truly going to roll over off that CPI data, that we could get up and test and roll back over off of. We did not get that. We just kept trucking, but we were already positioned long from the open when we held above 3,500. You can let it open, dip down, pretty much everything like SPYs, Qs, Tesla, Microsoft, you name it. They all reached down and tapped their buy zones and then started to take off through their sell zones. But just looking at ES, when it wicks down and then takes off over open, that's a good sign to go long for some kind of gap fill. Getting back to that 3571 would have been about a half gap if you look at this candle, right? So that's why I called those out as the potential rejection points to roll over, but we didn't get that. We took off right through them. So we held our calls, and man, did it just explode. By noon, we had already gotten back to the daily 8 and above Monday's high. Overall, trucked all the way up to about 3,700. The overnight session was pretty lit as well. There was a quick dip to test the daily 8 and also our buy zone in our beast tool. I'll go ahead and load up that beast tool real quick just to give you guys an idea, because I am a little late today because I stayed up trading those futures because they were so active. And with our beast system, it made it pretty simple. There was a quick dip down to our buy zone in that daily 8 where we go long. We got through our sell zone and up to the purple hash line where we lock up profits. Then when it starts to give out, that purple hash line and this base that it tried to set went short, back down to our buy zone, and then long again, back up to purple hash, short again back to buy zone, long again to sell zone. So you can see these levels are very important overnight and provide a great roadmap. I hit a number of longs on the way up, shorts on the way back. I was hitting NQ a little more since I like to trade NQ. So it was part of this run up last night, part of this short back. And yeah, same thing, NQ from buy zone, purple hash line, back to buy zone, back to sell zone, buy zone, sell zone. So if you're interested in futures, we definitely offer a great edge with our beast tool. So back to ES. While we got it up. We kind of have our roadmap for the day. Let's see if we can stay above and, just covering this roadmap, we can push today up to the daily mean, which sits in our outer shaded region near this 3741. Should we start to give out the daily 8 and this 3668 in our buy zone, we can head back to 3639 in our lower shaded region, 3621. Now I'm going to remove this real quick and just talk to never quite get the view I want. There we go. That's decent. So overall, the daily 8 and this 3668 are a key level. It kind of represents the Monday pre-market high, a level that we hadn't seen the rest of the week until yesterday. Now that we're above it, looking for that to hold. If it can't hold during the cash session, then we will likely drop down to this 3650, 3639 for a test. We have a little hourly squeeze bottom forming there. If we can hold here, could make a press right back through this 3668 with the ultimate goal of getting to 3708 and 3741 where the daily 21 sits. That's right, in just one big day and a little push, we can already be back at the daily 21. But if we can't hold 3668 and can't hold 3650, 3639, then we can start to come back into our weekly range and this 3620, which kind of cuts right in the middle. Anything below that, 3611, 3600. But overall, we need to recognize trend and try to not fight it. Real quick, let me just take a look at something. Yeah, perfect. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. We cover this chart every so often, but basically these are just key moving averages from each time frame. I kind of like to teach that the 45 EMA is a final line in the sand for a change of trend. Yesterday we pushed through all of our 45 MAs. The 4-hour sits at that 3661, just below that 3668. And any past that, the 2-hour sits right near this 3669. So again, we can have a dip to this 3669, and as long as we hold, we can push, back through these moving averages and keep pushing. Right now, yesterday, we pushed through all of those moving averages. As long as we hold them on any retests, we're looking for continuation up. And then once those give out, it's a good sign that we'll see another decent drop. So overall today, going to see what we get at open. See if we have little dips to our buy zones, and then trying to play long for the continuation. Recognizing that we can dip down to this 3639, and as long as it holds near the bottom of this hourly squeeze, we can still see a good continuation move. Who knows, we might see that, what do we got, about 45 minutes left? We might see it push right up to this daily 21 in that time. At which point, we might be looking for a short back to fill the gap and then long again. But overall, these are the key levels for today. upside and downside. If we were to actually push past 3741, these are the next key levels. So let's go on back to NQ next. For NQ, the resistance to get through is this 11,197 called 11,200. In this daily 15, if we can start to push through that, then the goal is to get to this 11,421 where the daily 21 sits, and psych level 11,500, making a target zone up above. If we have a dip, looking for this zone around 10,900 and 950, looking for that to remain support. This week we have chopped around it, and then it kind of became resistance. Yesterday we ripped through it, pulled back to it, it was support. So on a dip today, looking for that to be support. We do have a little hourly squeeze bottom right near it, so if we do see a little dip, looking for buyers to support right here and send us back higher. If we start to give out this zone, then we could come back to the bottom of this weekly range around 10,800. We also have a big psych level here of 11,000, pre-market lows right near there. So if we do have a dip and we just hold 11,000 in pre-market lows, still looking very bullish. But yeah, let's see if our zone can hold 11,000 and send us up to these next key targets in zone above. Ready. And one thing I'll also say, you know, we hit amazing longs yesterday on this. Basically everywhere else I looked, everyone was saying, get ready for tomorrow to dump back down. This is all a fake pop. It's going to dive tomorrow. There's a lot of bearish sentiment going on in most trading rooms and around Wall Street. We will be prepared should we actually start to drop, but we also need to understand change of trend. We need to understand that sometimes a big move is really the start of a bigger move, right? Can we reject and come back down? Absolutely. But overall, we need to understand what the current trend is and not try to fight that. We should be looking for continuation first, and then when we get confirmation of breakdown, start going for the change of trend, right? You know, yesterday I saw in a number of other rooms that folks were, you know, shorting it. I'll go back to ES. You know, shorting it when we got to 3,600, then shorting when we got to 3,650, and shorting and shorting and shorting. And just saying, oh, it's going to come back down tomorrow. Well, there's always the possibility it does not, and it just continues. And buyers remain strong. Look at this volume yesterday compared to everything else for the last few weeks. It's worth noting that a lot of volume came in yesterday, a lot of upward sentiment. Why did we pop so hard? Well, everybody in this range was short. CPI is going to be bad, it's going to dump. We got that dump. So, at open, you have folks taking profit. They have to buy to get out of their shorts. So it starts to pop. From buyers stepping in because we hit huge key levels at this 3,500, this 3,541. So a lot of buying algos get kicked on because we're back to levels we haven't seen in a couple of years. You got buyers stepping in, you got shorts stepping out, which fuels the buying. Then, as it just keeps going, People that are still short have stops that are getting hit, so they're buying, and it's more buying. And then you got people seeing this happen, and they get FOMO, and they're buying, and this is now the bottom, and yada yada. Not trying to say this is the bottom. Can we roll back over? Yes. But overall, a lot of volume rolled in yesterday because of what happened. And can this be the bottom and we start to move up for a little while? Yeah. Just like in June, we hit a bottom and we moved up for a while. So let's not fight trend. Let's try to recognize significant volume coming in overall. So overall, let's get back to ready. Already made it back to the daily 21. If she can keep trucking, looking to get back up to this range from the rally that we had last week, right? So if it can continue, looking to get back up to, basically 1780 at the top of the range. And if we can push past that, the daily Keltner. We do have 4-hour squeezes on everything and daily squeezes that have started to pop up. We can see that the Ruddy's daily squeeze is right down past yesterday's low. The top of that squeeze up here with the daily 50. So there is a thesis on continuation on all of these indices that maybe we get back up, hold the daily 21, and push to the daily 50. So ultimately, I'm not saying that we get there today necessarily, but if we're going to get continuation, those are my next upside targets. Real quick, let's just look at ES. Yeah, its daily squeeze is way up with the daily 50, which is still, 200 points past the daily 21. So, pretty far target. Obviously, first we're at 3,800 is the next big one if we can clear the daily 21 and hold it. In Q, same thing, I believe, yeah. The daily 50 sits up at this next key zone. You can see I've only got so many key levels because I'm not going to mark every level. I'm trying to mark ones that are important, where we should see reactions. So upside target, even for today, is getting up to this zone of support with the daily 21 and this 11,500. If we can get through that, not saying necessarily today, but over the next week, if we get through that and hold, there's a thesis to try to get back to the daily 50. Now we can go to YM, already above the daily 21, looking strong, over 30,000. On any dip today, looking for 30,000 to hold. YM's pushing for more. Where's ES at now? ES is pushing for more. And YM arriving back at the highs from that run-up and reversion to the mean that we got last week. So, definitely looking strong still. If YM can keep going, let's see, close around that daily 21. We'll just call it at 30,000. On an ATR, it can get up pretty much to this first Keltner. Ultimately have the top of a daily squeeze right near that daily 50. So, overall target, not necessarily today, but over the next week, there's a thesis of holding the daily 21 and getting to the daily 50 up above. So let's see if 30,000 can hold today on a dip, and if this 21 at 30,070-ish, we'll call it. Let's see if that can provide support if we do have a little dip once the cash session opens. Looking for it to carry up through 30,500, 30,800. Apple. Premarket gave out this zone that it held all week on 138, 138.8. Fell down almost to my next target, and then right back above that zone. Pushing through the daily 8 into the daily 15 now, and arriving at my next key level, 144 and a half-ish. If we can clear that, looking to get to the daily 21, 146.5, 147.5, and 148.5 are my next key zone above. So that's the target today. Let's see, we closed around 42 with, we'll just call it a 5-point ATR. We can get to this zone today. On any dips, looking to hold above 142. If we start to lose that, could slip back to 140 or this zone. But we'd obviously need to see the market taking out moving averages. And like I said, the market is probably going to make the move to the mean before open. Very strong, folks. AMD, with the market made a nice move yesterday. Ultimately, I've been talking about AMD holding this 56 big key zone where it could settle, and then start to push back up to the daily mean. Amazon made a nice move yesterday, but stopped kind of in the middle of the weekly range. Starting to get to the top of it now. So you could say a little bit of relative weakness in Amazon. Well, let's see if it can push up to the daily mean at 118. Does have some fat squeezes in its way. And if it is a little bit weaker than other names, it might just stay in this squeeze today. But let's see what we get there. Looking for 112 to hold on a dip, if not going back to 110 at the bottom of these squeezes. And looking to get up to that 118. BA. Held the bottom of its squeezes, and with the pre-market drop, came right back up to the top. Almost back to the daily mean, 135, right near this high. Ultimately, if it can clear that, next stop, our next key target, 140 and 141.5 at that first Keltner. Daily 50 still way above at 150. We need to break out of this 4-hour squeeze to get up there. It says it has a daily squeeze. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No daily squeeze. Cat. Nice move. Yesterday, slipped down to that daily 15 in the bottom of this squeeze. Tagged it and right back up through the 21 to the daily 50. For continuation, let's see if it can hold the daily 50 at this basically pre-market lows at around 183. Looking for it to push up to 189.5, 193. But that is where the third Keltner sits. But overall, nice and strong on Cat. Still does have its squeezes in place. If that 183 gives out, coming back to 180. Coin. From 61 back to 71. Let's see if it can hold pre-market lows, 68.5, 69 on any dips. If it can hold there, looking for it to continue up to 74 at the top of this squeeze where the daily 50 sits. Google. A little better strength than Amazon, got back to new highs on the week and trying to push for more. Printing above 100 now. Let's see on a pullback if it can hold 99, maybe even hold 100. Looking for it to push further to this 103. Not saying that we necessarily get there today, but if we can start to break out of these squeezes to the upside and stay above 199, the target is to get back to this 103 and 104 at the top of this daily squeeze near that first Keltner. GS, we have bank earnings this morning, right? JPM was one of them. Let's take a quick look. They beat on earnings, having a favorable reaction. There were other banks that reported this morning, Wells Fargo, yada yada. Look in our earnings channel and you can see all about that. GS. A little gap down. Let's see if it can hold above 304 at the bottom of this 1 hour squeeze. Looking to get through 310, work its way to 315, recent highs, and that next Keltner sits at 317. JPM, not as much interest, but good reaction. Looking for it to hold above its pre-market lows in this daily 21 and try to push its way up to this daily 50 at 114, recent high at 113. Meta. I'm looking kind of like Google and pretty much at the weekly highs. On a dip, let's see if 130 can hold. Looking for it to keep trekking up to the daily 15 at 136. And the daily 21 would be next near 140. Not saying we get there today. If Meta can get some follow through. It's just been constantly getting beat up. But did make it to third Keltner and almost back to first Keltner. Microsoft. Big old move yesterday. Was weak all this week. And now back above this big key level, 232. And right near Monday's highs. Actually, above Monday's highs right now. On a dip, looking for that 232 to hold. Yeah, you can call it 232 up to that 232.86. Looking for the key level to hold and push Microsoft up to 240, 241, where the daily 21 sits. Netflix. At the bottom, or what, pre-market hit the bottom of a 2-day and 1-day squeeze. Big old reaction. Another thing that adds to why did everything move up so much? A lot of things, yet we're at third Keltner down or at big key time frame squeeze bottoms where we find support. Netflix made it all the way back up to the daily mean, 230 from a low of 211 pre-market and moving more. If let's see on a dip if it can hold this daily 50, daily 21, if we even get a dip. And ultimately that pre-market low near 230, but the goal is to get to 240, 245, and maybe ultimately 250 at the top of this daily squeeze. Nvidia. Let's see, pretty much got back to Monday's highs, but stayed under them, barely peaking above now. On a dip, let's see if 118 can hold at the bottom of this hourly squeeze, 30-minute squeeze. And if we can get through 122 and 123.5 where the daily 15 sits, looking for it to get up to 127, 128 where the daily 21 sits, psych level of 130, and recent high past that. QQQ. Let's see, almost back to the daily 15. If we get a dip, looking for this 266 to hold at the bottom of this hourly squeeze. Should we even get a dip, and should that even give out, 263.5, 264 is kind of the middle of this range. Should be looking for that to hold. But if we keep on trucking and looking to get through this daily 15 and back to psych level 275 and 277.5 where the daily 21 sits, it's kind of the bottom of the range from when we ran up last week. Let me extend this over to, there we go. That's basically a little zone around 275. So kind of first target, second target at 277.5, 280, final target. Can we get there today? Closed at 68 with an 8-point ATR. Yeah, getting to 280 is a little more than an ATR move today. And getting to the 21 is like a little bit past a full ATR. So, SPX. Filled this gap and any others left behind. to the upside. We do have some gaps in the way. Let's see. ES gapping up about 36 points. Going to put this near 3,700, so we're going to be opening near this gap. Let's see if we reject it and have a little pullback to fill today's gap, maybe hit yesterday's highs. If we do even get that pullback, looking for that to hold and push right back up into the gap to the daily 21, maybe filling the gap today. SPY. Key levels, key levels. Arriving at this 370 pre-market. If we can reject near these squeeze tops and have a dip, looking for 365 to hold. If we can get through 370, looking to get through that daily 21 at 372. Next key level, 374. Tesla made a great move off of 206 yesterday, getting back to 220, but still, this one has a lot going on, still below Monday's highs, still in weekly range. So not expecting maybe Tesla to make some crazy move higher out of this weekly range. It still has a lot hanging over it with the Twitter stuff and, you know, Musk opening his mouth all the time on Twitter. So not loving this name necessarily for the continuation play, but if it can keep going, first stop 230 at the daily 8, and ultimately trying to get back to the mean and the daily 15, daily 21 back at 250. But this one might reject and come back down to test. UVXY for continuation today, looking for it to get down to the daily 21 around 12, maybe get below. But we are at the bottom of a big 4-hour squeeze. If we are going to see a pullback, we might see this get back up to 12.5. 12.7 pre-market high. Would love to see it reject and roll back over so we can get that continuation. But let's see how it deals with the bottom of the squeeze. And VIX was very interesting and mute yesterday. Did not make a big pop-up pre-market. If you look over at VXX or /VX, VIX futures, those did pop up to highs and then rolled back. But VIX heading lower and lower, almost to the bottom of the squeeze. If we're going to see some downside or a pullback this morning, VIX will likely come down and test this 31, catch a bounce back up, maybe to test 32, some of these overnight levels. But ultimately, for continuation, would love to see it stay below 32, below these daily moving averages, continue down below 31, maybe making it down to 30.2 where the daily 21 sits, and big psych level 30. That's it for today. Sorry, just trying to speed through so I can get the tools out to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck today. And we'll see everyone in the room. We are going to have another free day today in our main chat. So if you're new, definitely come in and join us. You can join our Discord for free. There's a link in the description of this video. And you can test out our tools and trade live with us. So thanks for tuning in, and good luck, everybody.